Hello, Coffee Gaming Classics here. No coffee today. This is just a quick episode. So, saw some Reddit posts on how to take the disk drive apart. This is a Sega CD Model 1 JVC variant. I already took the top cover and the RF shielding off. So what we want to do is a couple things. We got these screws. I already took most of these screws are out already, but there's going to be 4 screws in here that you're going to want to take out. They are, like, for example, right down there. Those screws mount this to the shelving, but I'm currently working on a 3D print part, so I'm trying to keep this together, but easy to take apart as well. So I don't have a special technique to take this front brace off, but what I do recommend is actually pulling out the disk drive first. I'm doing this one hand. You probably should not be doing that with one hand, but take off the side. And I also already recapped this as well. So now the disk drive's out, now this front plate come out, and be very, very gentle with this. There's these little plastic, I already broke one on the lower corner, which I'm really bummed out about, but there's these little plastic tabs that lock into this, and as I drop it. And so you just want to be very careful. So here's the broken one that happened, I don't know when, but yeah, just be very cautious about how gentle you are with this, because you could maybe probably try to 3D print out like a little mini wall to glue onto here, and that would probably do it, but just keep that in mind. And I also recommend using 2 hands. This is hard to do with just one hand over the phone. So you're gonna have this ribbon cable, which is caught. There we go. So next you wanna do is pull this out, which I'll do right now. Sorry, like I said. Pull this out. And then you just kind of want to rock it until it comes out. Okay, so that's done. All right, so let's go ahead and make some space here. And I probably need to replace the battery, which is right there on this. Okay, so here's the disk drive itself. Next, we need to take out these 2 top screws. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that with a Phillips head. Like so. And then I recommend one of these magnetic trays right here. Mine has a broken piece, and I'm on like version 17 of trying to figure out how to model this by eye and fix it. I'm very close, so once I have that done, I'll post that online so everyone can have access to this, and I'll show you why that part's important. Take out this one. And then this just comes off like that. And then we see the JVC laser assembly there. Next, we have this screw. What this screw does is, as it's not really screwed into anything, it's kind of like a push, because when this disc comes forward, it's gonna hit this piece like this. So the screw's gonna come back, and then it's gonna hit this top piece and bend the assembly that way. So that's what this screw is for. It's kind of weird that it's just floating there, but that's why I've discovered that it's kind of like an arm. And there is a distinction. You're gonna have 2 screws in here. One's gonna be big, one's gonna be small. So far we've removed all the small screws, but for the internal RF shielding, you're gonna want to make sure that you're using the longer of the 2 for the RF shielding. So you can see they're 2 different sizes. Just make sure you set aside and know the difference of when to use the different sizes. So now we got that off. Next we have these parts right here. We got these little pins right here, like so. We'll come to that actually in a minute. So the goal is to get this off, right? And if we try to push this forward, we see that it just won't. And you want to be gentle. You don't want to force this at all. You shouldn't have to. Be very, very gentle. So you'll notice that this top disc tray won't move. If we look on the bottom, you'll see this this white part here. And what you can do is take, I got this flathead screwdriver here. You can take this in here. Get this up. Like I said, I'm doing this with one hand, so it's difficult to do. So I'm going to put this in here and just kind of twist it counterclockwise And then you'll see that now this is loose. And then now I can very lightly push this forward. And I do recommend using 2 hands for this. I'm going very, very lightly on this until you get to the end. And then once you get to the end, this is where we jump back to these little side tabs. So on the JVC, I don't know if this is on the other Model 1 variant, but on this one, we have these little pins that we need to lightly, very lightly, push out to the right and to the left. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then I'll try to shoot this as best as I can. So what I'll do is get a little tiny flathead. And then what I'm doing is just lightly, there's this little ball up top, and I'm kind of just using as little pressure as possible. I'm working the left and right sides, and there we go, just let go. Okay, so just put as little pressure as possible on these. You don't want to break these, okay? So as little pressure as possible, and then that's your last step there. And like I said, you gotta make sure you take that screw out that was up top there. So now we're at this point. So at this point, we have this this gray rod. From what I saw, this circular piece is on the left side, not on the right. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm mostly sure that it should be this orientation. So this gray gear piece should have this circle on the left side. So we can just actually just lift this out, like so. And put that off to the side. Now we're at this step. So in my original model, I bought this broken. I didn't have the typical no power issue. I had this issue where this piece in here was busted. You could see it broke off here. So I actually got a zip tie, measured it out, and I was able to bend this and put this in place, which is why I'm working on creating a 3D print replacement. This isn't the actual replacement, but so for me, this is what broke on my model, was like this top piece. So if you have that problem, I'm hoping to have that done soon. A lot of debugging to get that correct, since we don't have the original OEM parts available anymore. Okay, so now that we're at this step. So the next step then is to take off this screw. And then this piece comes out. And then I would prefer to not do this because it is a little bit of a pain, but there is this wire here. And this wire needs to be coiled around this piece, and it needs to rest on this piece because there's like a little part that sticks up. And what you can do is just you can take this screw out, and then this assembly comes out, and then that way you can take this out, which then will lead you to taking this out if you need to. I've already put some lube on this. And then, you know, that's how you also replace the belt too. So you would take this out. This is going to be like attached to this. I don't have a good way to show how to reassemble this part of it. You're going to have to maybe, how would you attach that in? You know, I'm sorry, I just don't know. So you're just going to have to kind of just wedge that back in. I'm not exactly sure how to remove this completely, because this is actually what raises and lowers the disk drive like that. So you can take the screw off. What will be very cautious of this, because this will likely just pop out because it's a coiled spring, so just be very careful of that. But find a way to get that back in there. I can't really show that here. And then, but you'd get access to that by taking this screw out. You're gonna have this spring to worry about, and then there's that. What you can also try to do is, I'll show you here, hopefully it doesn't uncoil that spring. Like I said, I would say the hardest part is honestly getting this spring to cooperate there. So that's how you replace the belt too. Here's the belt right here. So take this out, pull this to the side, and then you have access to the belt. I'll try my best to show that without redoing the coil. So what I'm going to do is actually put some pressure down. I'll loosen this up, and then right away, from just doing that enough, you'll see that this is now loose, And now you could even try to wiggle this out. This will lift up like this, and then you can get to these parts down here. I don't want to do it because, like I said, getting this to work is a pain, but hopefully that's enough just to show you how that happens. Also, too, this assembly has this has this notch right here, like this. So this needs to be like inside of this track, and I'll show you why. So let me tighten this back up just to show you that part. Okay, and so as this gear assembly catches, which is what this is doing, you'll see these teeth right here. This is going to get pushed, and this is going to get caught. And then as this goes in, see it right there? And if we keep turning it, it's going to move along with it. So that's where that needs to be, and that's how this whole thing works. So when this comes out all the way, this is going to be spinning like this, and this will spin freely until something pushes this in just even a hair. So this is going to just be spinning freely on its own, okay? And then as the, now we'll move to the disc plate. So looking at the disc plate, we then have, let's see, this is this way. So on this side, you see this part right here? Let me get good light. Sorry. Okay, there's this piece right here. Right here. So as this drive is going into the plate, this piece is going to catch this right here, this black piece. And when it does, watch what happens. When it does, it's going to move. It's going to move this into place. And then once that happens, then this will get caught, and then this will move your assembly drive up like that. This thing is so advanced, the way they came up with this. So there's even this piece has a lot going on with it, and then let's talk about this piece. So on the underside, we have this groove right here, this groove. So as this drive is moving this way, okay, we're gonna have this little knob here on this guy. So this guy is what actually slips into this groove. So as the disk drive is going back, and back, this needs to get caught into here and get pushed into this way. So that's what this is doing. Now let's talk about why the screw that we removed earlier here is important. So as the disk drive is coming out this way, again, this screw was here, we have this pin that's going down like this, that's going to come back, and then this is why this piece is important again. So the screw that's in that disk drive will then, let me disengage this all the way. Okay. When that screw comes by and makes contact with this, it's going to make this blue switch activate, which, and why is this important? So this blue switch here is what tells the Sega CD, I think it has 3 states. It has this neutral state, it has this back state, which I think will tell it if the disk drive is open, and then once it catches all the way, it's hard to see, yeah. So we can, oh, it hasn't moved yet. One second, we'll go all the way, okay. So the blue switch now has been moved forward, which will tell the Sega CD a 3rd disk drive state. So this blue switch, this assembly, this piece right here does a lot of work, and it's very important. I mean, all this is important, but this piece in particular controls a lot of the operation in this disk drive. So we have this blue notch that can go back, middle, and forward. As the screw on this drive is coming forward like this, it's gonna smack this, and then it's gonna move that switch forward, and that's gonna tell the Sega CD which state to be in. So very mechanically very cool how this was done. I'm trying to think if there's anything else important that you guys may need to know how to do this. Yeah, keep an eye on the coil. This needs to be tight. We're gonna have to put this back on. I'll reassemble this too. Be very gentle to these. These are important. Be very gentle to these. Just a little bit of pressure. That's how you do the belt. If your piece is broken, I am working on, I'm almost there. It's very close to being where it needs to be, but there's still some things I need to, like I said, I have to figure it out by eye, print it out, try it again, print it out, try it again. I'd recommend you put some lube on some parts. I'm using this guy, the Super Lube here. And then I put that, I put that anywhere, this moves along this, the gears need it, this stuff in here needs it. Anything that moves needs lubrication. So let's see, try and think what else that you would need to know. Let's see. All right, well, I'll just reassemble it, and then maybe I'll think of something. So let's go ahead and put it back together. So we got to put this piece back on. And then, like I said earlier, make sure you know that you're using the smaller screw. And they do look very similar, so you want to make sure. So this is here. Put this back in. Okay. Oh yeah, I do need to show you something when I put this back in. Okay, and then we need to put this back in, and then this is how your spring should look. It should look like this shape. So okay, so I'm just gonna, and then this just snaps in. You just kind of push down, and it'll just. Okay. Okay, good to go there. Okay, let's put it back in. I think we've got everything. Yep. Okay. So make sure this is completely disengaged. You know it is, but if you twist this and this doesn't move, so that's where this needs to be. Okay. And this is what that spring is doing. That's why that spring is important. Okay. All right. It keeps it to the right. So we're going to line up there's these little nub right here and little nub right here. I actually put some grease on that too, some super lube on that, and I put some super lube. I lubed up everything. So, all right, so we're gonna just line it up with here. And then it's gonna hit that point where it hits these. I'm gonna have to put the phone down. I'm gonna rock that in. This is not the best angle, but you're not really missing much. So I'm just very lightly putting pressure. You'll hear it snap. Oh no, you won't. Okay. Okay, so it's back on. Okay, I'm just gonna lightly push it back all the way. I'm just using my thumb down here. Light pressure, I can't stress that enough, just light pressure. Oop, I did something wrong. This got engaged too early, so I need to bring this back out. Can't happen. Just in. Okay. Yeah, so this piece can't it needs to be engaged at a very specific spot for that thing to line up in the groove. So my thumb actually touched the side of it and pushed it in, which is bad. So, okay, so I'm just lightly pushing this in. Again, use two hands for this. This is hard to do with one hand. Okay. Okay, we're almost done. So one thing you also need to finish with is on the side, you're gonna see this piece. This is this piece right here, or no, this guy, what we were just looking at. So this needs to get pushed in like this. So just go ahead and I maybe use something bigger, and maybe I'll get a better camera angle. Where are we? Do we see it? Yeah, right here. So this piece right here. Okay. So you should be able to just push this in. I'm gonna make sure you guys can see it. Okay, so just push this in like so. Okay, see how it's in there? And then now this is raised up. So now you are good to go. That should be it. Hopefully this was helpful. I'm not gonna do the rest. It's pretty much just reverse, but just, make sure that you put this back on. I think it's silver side down. This kind of only wants, no, silver side up, I'm sorry, yeah. Yeah, silver side up. You put two small screws here, and do not forget to put this small screw back in, and make sure you use the small one, not the big one. Like I said, you're gonna have two size screws. You wanna make sure that you use the small screws for this. Let me grab one. So, yep, just make sure you're aware of that. That screw is important. All these screws are important. This thing was designed so well. So, sorry. So here it is. Here's the small. I just wanted to grab it and show you the comparison. So the small one, okay? So the small one's gonna go back in here, screw in here, put the ribbon cable back in, RF shielding, and then you're good to go. Let me know if you have any more questions. I'll see if I can do to help you out. Okay.